Hi everyone, welcome back. Episode 2. Um, wow, we were absolutely amazed by the responses that we got in that first week, and we're so happy to have so many of you back again this week. Ian was just telling me before that we have a lot more numbers this week on YouTube. So anyone that's watching on YouTube, welcome. Anyone watching on Twitch, or anyone that's watching on Facebook or Twitter, Periscope, you name it, video platform streaming, we are there at the moment. And as always, I am not on my own today. I have Ian running the buttons to me on in the other room today. Here he is. Hey, there's Ian. And we also have the fabulous Nikki, who's going to be coding along with us at the same time, who's been coding, I believe, in between these sessions and getting herself skilled up, ready to go. How's it going, Nikki?
Hey, not too bad. I aim to make Voldemort as my bad guy, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, brilliant. We actually had a bit of a competition, not a competition, a bit of a poll on Facebook the other day, and we had loads of different bad guys. Jack, our social media manager, set it all up. I think Bowser was winning the last time I checked. I'll get Ian, who's our wizardry behind the scenes, to have a look, see who ended up on top of that. But I think Bowser was the winner. My personal favorite, Donkey Kong, wasn't even in the running, so you know. All down to personal taste. Okay, so what are we going to be doing today? We are going to be looking at adding enemies and adding in projectiles to our coding. So last time we were running around, we were collecting things, we were getting our scores up and things like that, but we didn't have any bad guys in our code. So today we're going to do a different style of coding, well, a different type of game, I should say, which includes both of those. So first question, straight off the bat, is I'm going to be designing mine, and I'm going to do a little bit of a poll, again, testing out new technologies. I believe this is only going to be on the people on Facebook, so if you're watching it somewhere else, you won't see this, but there should be a poll appearing on the screen soon that lets you guys decide where my game is going to be based. So is my game today going to be based in space or underwater? We're going to do a little poll on the video. Click which one you want me to design. Putting myself on the line a little bit here with my design skills. So, but I'm going to let you decide if I'm designing a game that is outer space or underwater. You let me know which you like to do, and Ian will shout through before we start designing and let me know which one we've decided to go with. So, yeah, I think without further ado, we'll start going. We'll start having a look at our code, and we'll start getting things set up. So, like last week, we are going to be using the MakeCode arcade editor. There are the website address. We'll get again. I'm going to throw it over to Ian here and get it. See if we can get that on the screen for us. But it is arcade.makecode.com. Hey, look at that. Amazing. So if we head over to this address, and it should have a screen that looks a little bit like this. You guys will probably now actually have a couple of accounts on there, not a couple of accounts, a couple of games that you've made previously and things that you were looking at. But what we're going to do is start a brand new game today. So to do that, we click on this big orange plus button here. And this time I've got to give it a name. So actually, I guess like this would be a good time, I guess, actually. And you got any results there? What's winning, space or underwater?
Space. Let's just quickly click
We'll
on
do a
so
quick.
you can see. Yeah, so space has got 62%.
Space. All right, I'm going to go with space then for mine. So I'm
now.
going to just, nice and simple, I'm going to call it space for now. Maybe I'll call it outer space. No, I'm just going to go with space. I can change the name later on if I want to. So type in the name of your game here. Don't forget as well that you can rename it at any point. So don't worry if you are putting in a game name and you think once you start designing it and putting extra bad guys in or extra people in, you want to change it. You can change it at any time, but it's just nice to get something in there to begin with. So I'm going to call mine space, and then I'm just going to hit that create button and get that popped in there. Okay, cool. And now we have our screen. I should say, by the way, if this is your first time watching us, hello, welcome to the stream. You'll be fine following along and getting on with it. But what we're going to do is each week we're going to build on something that we've learned from the previous week. So If you want to, you're doing other weeks, you can always catch up on week 1 and watch us back. We're going to leave that up on social media, so it'll be on our website, it'll be on our YouTube channel, it'll be on our Facebook channel as well. Oh, look at Ian here, smashing it. Brilliant. So yeah, you can find us here, there, and everywhere. MakoCreate in different places. You'll be able to catch up. So if this is your first week, hello. And if you'd like to go and catch up and things like that, you definitely can do. Okay, now we've got that over. Let's start building our game. So mine is based in space, isn't it? That's what we said. Yeah. So something that we can do is that's a lot different from last time. Is the last time I went and set a background which was just a plain color. This time I think I will draw a little bit of a background on mine. So I'm going to click on scene. And instead of clicking on set background to color, I'm going to go to set background to image. And I'm actually going to draw a little bit of a background in this time. So I'm going to drag this one in and put it underneath my on start. So as we said last time, when it's just this gray color, the reason that this doesn't show up here is this is actually transparent, this gray color. So it's just as if it's not even turned on almost at the moment. So what I need to do is click on it. And you'll notice that it's very, very similar to the editor that we were using last week when we were designing our characters. We've got all the same tools here on the left-hand side, same way of choosing colors, different tools that are available to us. But in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that it says 160 by 120, and that's because currently this is filling the whole screen. So our characters that we were designing last week were 16-bit by 16-bit, 16 pixel, sorry, by 16 pixel. So they were a lot smaller. So we have to bear that in mind when we're drawing. So if I go on to the black, for example, and draw in here, you'll see that the line's a lot smaller than it was last time. And that's just because the thing that we're drawing is so much bigger. Go on and do that. So I'm drawing space. So actually space is quite easy. Just going to fill this in with a black. So suddenly the whole background goes black. I've used the fill tool to do that. And then you can, if I wanted to, I could just do some stars, but I've got another trick up my sleeve for doing stars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can do some planets. So I might have this, use my circle tool. Need to change my color. So I might have a this color planet, maybe over here. And I'm going to fill that in. I could, if I wanted to, maybe I could make that one look a bit like Earth if I put some green on it. Go on, I'm actually, I've got doing that. So I don't want anyone messaging in about my geography and what continents these are and stuff, because this is just random. It looks a bit like a duck. I'm going to have to change that. I can't have it looking like there's just a massive duck there. But yeah, kind of filling these in. Drawing. So you've chosen to do yours out of space. That's cool. You can do one like me, but you could do yours anywhere. It's a little bit like a flying game we're going to be working on today. So it could be in the sky. It could be underwater like my other option was. It could be in the sky. It doesn't have to necessarily be in space. It could be like kind of fighter pilots flying in the sky. Everything. I think Nikki said she was going to do Voldemort. So are you going to base yours around in like kind of Harry Potter kind of a world, wizardry world, Nikki?
Currently working on trying to get Hogwarts up and running.
Hogwarts. All right. So that is my. This is my Earth. That'll do for my Earth. Might do a little moon going around it. Looks a bit square, my moon, but in the thing of time, I'm going to be a little bit quicker. I'm just going to throw some other random planets. So I'm going to have Earth, but I'm also going to have Mars, maybe red, maybe over here. Again, not to scale, so don't get me with my with your planet facts, which I'm sure are a lot better than mine. There we go. Okay, so you could carry on doing that, and we could have loads of more planets in the background and loads of other things going on. But I'm going to leave it there for now, just because I want to show you some other cool things that we can do. So once you're happy with your design, you can just click on the Done button in the bottom right-hand corner. And we'll see that it now updates, and we can see it on our computer game over here, which is cool. So we can see we've got Earth and Mars, but something else that you can do, which is quite cool, which we didn't use in the last time, is we can add in effects. So what I'm going to do is go to Scene, and I'm going to go down a little bit. Oh, here it is, sorry. The Start Screen Confetti effect. And what I can do is drag this one in. I'm going to put this one first, actually. Am I? No, I might put it second. Yeah. And what this does is, you can see it there coming down, puts confetti on my computer game. But I don't really want confetti. I want to have it so that I have a star field. If I was underwater, I was going to use bubbles, but we're not underwater, so I'm going to use star field for this one. You don't have to use these, but they are some quite cool effects that can start bringing yours and making it look. You can see that the kind of stars are moving down my game throughout it. It starts making it look a little bit more like space as it's going. Cool. All right, so now we've got those. So the next thing that I'm going to do is add in my sprite for my good guy. So for the sprite for my good guy, what I'm going to do is, because I'm in space, I'm going to have a rocket ship. But again, you can design anything you want as your kind of hero character. So we're going to go to Sprites. And I'm going to drag in a create and then set my sprite to sprite kind player. And this time I'm going to design a spaceship I'm going to use for my character, I think, yeah. So let's see, let's put my drawing test of the skills. So I want a color that's not been used yet. So don't use too much yellow actually ever. So I'm going to use yellow. I'm going to kind of like a point, and then I think I'm going to come up like this. Yeah, that's the start of it. I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to have like a pink windshield, I think. And then maybe an orange wing. I'm just going to have mine looking like it's looking at the right-hand side of it. So it's not... it's kind of like it's real 2D. This is the wing, so you're not seeing it going up and down or anything like that. It's just looking at it directly side on. Am I happy with that? No, I think we're going to need to make some changes. Get it look a bit cooler. We're going to have to put the pink one down there at the bottom. By the way, we had loads of responses to our competition last week. I think we had over 150 games entered into it. So we looked through those, some amazing entries in there, lots of different people, lots of different themes. We had some Harry Potter ones, Nikki, last week. We had some, so we obviously got some other fans. We had some Doctor Who ones. We had all sorts of ones. We had people where they'd drawn themselves. We had lots of unicorn ones. Yeah, all really, really good stuff. So we'll talk about them a little bit later on. So I'm just going to draw a bit of fire, I think, coming out the back here of mine. So I'm just going to go red, orange, red, orange, a little bit like a rocket ship booster at the back of mine. I think, I'm quite happy with that for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Done button. And there's my character appearing there in the middle of my screen as everything else is going down and falling down around it. So fantastic. And what we're going to do now is help make it so that we can move our character around. So we want to be able to move our character around. So currently, as I move this joystick around, nothing's happening. My character just kind of stays there in the middle. To move my character around, again, building on the things that we did last time, we can click on the controller and we can click move with buttons. I've just remembered here that I've not actually renamed mine. So what I'm going to do is, rather than have it as my sprite, because that gets confusing the more sprites that we have in there, and the more things that are going on. So I'm just going to rename my sprite here. So I'm going to click on that drop down and I'm going to rename it from my sprite. And I think I'm going to call it space. Like that. So I don't mind that. But this could be, obviously, if yours is not a spaceship, if yours is a fish, or if yours is a boat, or if yours is a plane, you can name it something like that, or maybe good guy, or if it's yourself, or it's Harry Potter, you can name it something that is relevant to your. I'm going to get rid of that capital S at the beginning, I think. Actually. Spaceship. And now what I need to do, it's automatically renamed this one underneath it because I already had it in. So we just need to make sure that these two names match up. So we've got a set sprite and I've renamed mine to spaceship, and then move spaceship with buttons. And now if I move my buttons around, I've got my spaceship flying around. And then a bit like last time at the beginning, my spaceship can go out of the screen. So I don't want it to be able to do that. I want it to make sure that it stays inside the screen as I'm flying it around. I don't want it going out and about. I want to make sure I know where it is. So I'm going to go to the sprites. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And then there it is, just above projectiles. We've got set my sprite to stay in screen. So I'm going to drag this in, pop it underneath here, and we get an error. And the reason we get an error is that because we've renamed my sprite now, this doesn't exist. My sprite doesn't exist anymore. So what I need to do is click on the drop down, change it to spaceship. And if I move him around now, we'll see that actually he still goes out. Now, what's really important here is that we have to switch this on. So even though it's inside our code, it doesn't automatically turn itself on. We need to click on this button that says off currently to turn it on so that it turns on. And our sprite can move around the stage now, but it will not go out. When it gets to the top, it gets stuck there. Gets to the bottom, gets stuck there. So it's not going out either side. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is have a look at adding some. Actually, sorry, just one more thing to build onto that. We can move our character around the screen. Somebody was saying last week that they felt that the character was moving too quickly. When they got a younger person to try playing the game, they struggle because the character moved too quickly. Or you might think that the character is moving too slowly. Something that we didn't look at last week, but is inside this move icon here, this one here, is there's a little plus here. And if we give this plus a click, we see that it says underneath it VX and VY and a number. So the V here stands for velocity. And this is how quickly your character moves. So you could make it so that he actually or she moves quicker in one direction, going left and right, than it does up and down. But what I'm going to do for mine is I'm going to make it a little bit quicker in both directions. So I'm going to change mine to 120. But you could, and again, it's completely down to your game. If yours is underwater, you might think, something underwater wouldn't move that quickly. It would move a little bit slower. So you could change these numbers to be lower if you wanted to. And what that means is your character would move faster or slower. Mine's moving a little bit faster around the screen now. But you would know with your own how quickly you want it to move. And that's not something that you have to decide right now. A lot of the time when I'm playing a game, I'll start it at one speed and go, actually, I can't get away from something quick enough, or actually I'm moving too quickly, the game's too easy. And so you can just change it as you're playing it and just decide what's right for your game. I guess what I'll do now is I'll just jump back over to Ian in a second and just see if there's been any questions or anything like that that anyone wants me to go over again or anything. Does everyone seem okay in with everything so far?
I am so glad you asked, Sean. One question that's proving quite popular is, can you insert pictures? And I think they're referring to either the background or potentially sprites as well. So could you answer that?
I'm struggling to hear you a little bit there, Ian. But what I'll do, I think I heard if you can insert pictures into it. Is that right? Was that the right thing? So if it was asking about if you can insert pictures into it, unfortunately not. With the way that this works is that it is coding the images almost inside them. So if I quickly jump to my JavaScript, something that's quite cool is if I jump over to the JavaScript version of this. So whenever I jump over to the JavaScript, what we are seeing here is the code put in as we would if we were writing it out in JavaScript. And I can click on this little palette here to the left-hand side of this image, and it's jumped into it. Sorry, not that one. Sorry, is it the plus here? Where I see it? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. And we can see that actually it's not an image at all. All these dots where there's just a little dot, that means there's nothing going on in this image. And when we come down to here, you can see that this is actually the outline of my shape. And these different numbers are in here correlate to different to the different colors. So I'm guessing that here, looking at mine, that the 3 must be the pink color that we use because I have 3 at the front of it. Then the 5 will be the yellow because the majority of my spaceship was yellow. I use 4, and I use an orange as the wing, so the 4 must be the orange, and then I use red and orange on the fire at the end, so this 2 must be the red, then fire, then orange, then red, then orange at the back. So one of the reasons that you can't import images in this is that actually, even though you're designing them in there, all of the images that are used are coded. And what that does is it keeps the games nice and slick and nice and quick. There's not massive images going in there. They're all actually coded in when you design them in. So unfortunately, it's a nice technique that you can use. If you're using something like Scratch, I know that you can bring images in from outside, but with MakeCode, you've got to actually design it inside there. But a nice excuse to show people the JavaScript element there, the design and what it looks like. Yeah, that's great. Hopefully that's answered your question, whoever asked it. I might have given everyone else a little bit of an insight as well of how it works. Anything else, Ian, or do you reckon we should carry on?
You are doing a fantastic job, Sean. There's a few people who've got issues. They're saying the picture's not that clear, but I have got reports from others saying that it's okay. So that might sound like it's a bit of an issue at your end. I'd just suggest a quick refresh on your browser if that's the case. But if any issues persist, then obviously just let us know in the chat and we'll do our best to help you out.
Yeah, that's right. And don't forget, you can always pause this video. Don't feel if I'm going a little bit too quick for you, or somebody was asking before about if they've got it open in 2 different tabs and the best way of getting around it if they don't have another device, or if they don't have a second window that they can use to have both the stream and the work on at the same time. Don't be scared of pausing this video. Just pause it, do your work, come back to it, press play again, rewind it. It's great for you to do it at the same time as us, but equally, if you need to pause it and take a little bit more time about it, that's completely fine. Everyone can do it at their own speed. Okay, so what we're going to do now then, I think, is look at adding our first enemies into the game. What I'm going to do this time is I want my enemies to appear. In this game, I'm going to be flying my spaceship around, and you might be able to tell from the direction that I've pointed him in. I want my enemies coming from the right-hand side of my screen and flying in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a new piece of code that we've not used yet, which is the game section, the game tag. And what I'm going to use is this one here, which is an on-game update and it's automatically at 500 milliseconds. So the second one down. So, Ian, I don't think they can see my screen at the moment. I think they can just see me. So I'll wait there. There we go. So this is the I'll get rid of it and drag it back in just in case anyone didn't see that. So we are inside the game section. And then it is the on game update. So the second one down every 500 milliseconds. And what we can do with this is we can change this time. So what this does is it updates itself. It runs it however many times we put this number to. So 500 milliseconds is actually about half a second. So that would mean that every half a second I have an enemy either appearing or whatever I put into this block happening. So what I'm going to do is I am going to create a new enemy. So to do that, I'm going to go back into Sprites. And I'm going to drag this code down here. And I'm going to rename it at the beginning this time. So again, this could be bad guy, this could be evil, this could be anything you want it to be. I think I'm going to name mine Bogey, like when you've got a bogey in your tail when you're flying. I think from my limited knowledge of flying and more 90% of it coming from Top Gun is they say they've got a bogey on the tail when they've got an enemy fighter near them. So I'm going to call mine Bogey, but as long as you can remember what it's called, that's all you need to know. And then we click on OK. And then what we need to do, just like last time, is design our character. So this time I'm going to go with something that's a little bit different to my last one. I want it to look a bit different to me. I've already used red in the background, so I don't really want to use red too much. And I've got quite a light. I think I might use a blue for my enemies. I think I might make the spaceships look a bit bigger than my one. I think I might go for like a kind of massive, yeah, something like that. And then, in fact, this is a good excuse to use the line tool. Start it here, draw the line, and make sure I've got it as straight as it'll go. Around pixels like that, lovely. And I'm going to fill it in. And then, yeah, I'm going to put some fire at the back of the, oh, I still got that selected. Okay, perfect excuse to show you how to use the undo button. Bottom right hand corner, this undo button there. And then it'll jump back to how it was. If you're silly like me and forget to click on the pencil. So let's put some fire at the back of this one as well. Right, that's it. And then a bit of orange. And yellow. Lovely. Maybe, what colour should I have the wings in this one? Maybe white wings. I'm going to have the wings triangular on this one as well. And maybe an orange screen at the front of it. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Looks smart. All right. So obviously, take as long as you want when you're designing your characters and putting them in there. And all we need to do once we're happy with our character, again, is click the Done button in the bottom right-hand corner. And we can see just a bit like happened last time. We've got our two characters on top. Because they're both starting right in the center of the screen. So one of them's just on top of the other one. So what we need to do is change the position of the bogey that we set up. So to do that, we're going to set the position. So again, we're going to jump into Sprites. And we are going to set the position. And we've got this X and Y axis. And if I pop this in here, and what I want is to have it so that I've got it. In fact, good. It's just popped up saying that I've got an error again because there's no my sprite. It's called bogey. And the other thing that I've got to do is I've got to change the type of player it is. So I know that it's a bogey. I know that's the variable that I've set up for it to be. But in the player kind here, it still classes a player, and that's what my good guy is set to. So I need to set this to something different. So if I click on the drop down, one of the options here is enemy, and this is going to be one of my enemies. So I'm going to change it to be an enemy. So now I've got it set as bogey. I've drawn it in, and I've changed the type to enemy. The next thing that I want to do is to change where it starts. So I actually want you can see, because I've got 0, 0 in at the moment, it's actually starting in the very top corner of it, right? Like we talked about last week, 0, 0 is right in the top corner over here. So what I actually want is for my bogey, my enemy, to start off the screen. I don't want them to start in the screen at the beginning. So to do this, I need to change the X. And so if I change the X, last week we were talking about it being up to 160 being on screen. So if I pop it at about 80, it should be in the middle at the top. Let's see if that works. When it refreshes. Yeah, there it is. It's right at the middle. But I want it to start off the screen. So instead of using this to be able to drag it left and right, I'm actually just going to enter the number here, because that's assuming there that I want it to stay on the screen. But I want this enemy to start off the screen and fly into it. So what I'm going to do is change it and make it above 160. So I'm going to actually make this one 180. So now when it refreshes, it'll have disappeared off the screen. But what I want it to do is not just appear in one space every time, because then it would be easy for me to evade it and get away from it. So what I'm going to do is a little bit like we did last week, is use the random feature to make it appear in a different location up and down. So not the X, so it's always going to start off screen, but the height of it will be different each time that it appears. So to do that, what I'm going to do is scroll down to random, and I go to this Y. So I'm just I did that a bit quick there, sorry. So it's inside maths, and then we scroll down and we have a pick random 0 to 10. That is what we're going to pick up, and we're going to drag that into the Y. Fantastic. A bit like last time, we talked about the height of this screen being 120 pixels. So I want this to be able to appear anywhere in the top to bottom of it. So I'm going to change this to, I'm going to change it to, so let's change that to 120. Lovely. So now we can't actually see what's happening, but if I change this, you don't have to do this bit. I'm just going to change it so that we can see what's going on. But if I change this to 140 and then refresh my game, we can see that suddenly lots of enemies are appearing up and down, and that's because it's the same X position. So it's always going to be in this line, but the Y is random, so how high they are. So every half a second, there's a new one appearing on this line, and eventually they'll just fill up the whole screen, or the whole of this line will just be pretty much a blue blur. So I'm going to stop that because I don't want that to happen. And I'm going to change that back to 180 because I want that to start off screen. I don't want them to start on screen. I want it to look like they're flying in. So I don't want to see them appearing. And so what I'm going to do now is to change it so that these bogeys, these bad guys, actually move around the screen. So to do that, what we need to do is a slightly different variation to this block here, which is setting the velocity of them. So the velocity is just basically how fast something is moving. So if I go back to my sprites, and the third one down is set velocity. So I'm going to click on this one and drag it in. Again, I'm going to need to change it to bogey so it knows that it's talking to the right one. Fantastic. And what this will do now is that we'll get the bogey to start flying or moving in a different direction. But actually with X and V both set to X, VX and VY set, it'll actually be shooting like kind of like in a diagonal like that downwards. I don't want my characters to fly up and down at all. I just want them to go in left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this VY, so the V stands for velocity. I'm going to change that to 0 because I don't want it going up and down at all. I just want it flying left. And actually, I've got it set to 50 at the moment, but if it's set to 50, that means they'll be flying backwards. That means they'll be flying right. So I need to change this to a minus number. So I'm going to change this from 50 to, I'm going to try minus 90 to begin with. And I think what I'll actually do at this point, I think I'll actually have a quick go at my game. And yeah, if I refresh this, might make this a bit bigger so we can see. Now I've got these spaceships flying at me. I'm able to go up and down and try and evade them. But if one of them hits me, nothing actually happens. They just hit me and go into me. So although it's quite fun, I can try and avoid them. If I think that they're going a bit too slow or they're not making enough of them, I can change that. So if I wanted to, let's say I think that these aren't being made quick enough, I could change this 500 milliseconds to 300. That would mean that I get more flights, more planes coming towards me. And if I thought that they weren't flying quick enough towards me, I could change this minus 90 to minus, oh, don't forget my minus, otherwise they'd be flying backwards, minus 120. So let's see this now. Let's refresh this and see how quick this is. Is this too fast? Oh, they're definitely faster. So at the moment, I've got, oh, I don't think I would have crashed then. No, I've got a bit of a game where I'm trying to avoid them. And I could keep going up and down. I'm doing a pretty decent job there, so I might think, you know what, actually this needs to be even quicker than this to be able to do it. So let's go back to my code. Cool. So that's it. You can decide how quickly or how slowly it is that you want your bad guys to fly at you. But what I want to have now is a bit of a consequence. I want to make it so that if my bad guys hit my character, hit my spaceship, that I lose a life. This is something that we've not looked at yet. So last time we looked at adding scores. So every time we collected something, we got a score and we added that on. But this time, I think we're going to have a look at lives and how we can potentially set lives for our characters and things like that. So to do that, what we do is we click inside this information or info tab. This was the same place that we got the score stuff from last time. And as well as having the score stuff here at the top, there's also life things that are about a little bit further down. So first thing I'm going to do is set our lives. So I'm going to do this on the on start because I want this to happen at the start of the game. I'm actually going to move this piece of code over here as well, so it's a little bit easier to go between the two of them. So I've set my life to 3. If I wanted to have more than 3 lives, that's fine. I could put that to 5 lives if we wanted to. And if we refresh the game, let's see how that looks now. We can see in the very top left-hand corner of the game, it now says heart times 5 because we've got 5 lives in there. So when you set your lives, it comes up and it shows you on the top left-hand side of the screen. So you can do that by changing this number to any number you want. I'm going to stick with 5 for now. But there has to be a way for us to be able to lose these lives because, again, if I crash into any of these spaceships, nothing's happening. So we're going to use the overlap tool that we used last time to collect them. This time we're going to use it to do some damage. So if we go to Sprites, and we go down to a little bit, there it is, overlaps. We have it so that we've got the on sprite kind player overlaps with other sprite kind player. So I'm going to drag this one in. I'm going to pop it over here. I'm just going to go and scroll across so I can see it a little bit better. Okay, lovely. So what we want here with this one is we want it so that we have it when the bogey, or when the bad guy hits my spaceship, we lose a life. So we can do that. We can do it by having on a sprite of any of kind player, which is correct for my good guy here, type player. That's fine. So the first bit is right. Overlaps with other kind player. Now we changed my bogey or my bad guy from player to enemy. So what I need to do is update this section here to enemy. So I click on the drop down, and suddenly we've got of kind enemy. And that means that now anytime these two overlap, this piece of code will be triggered, and whatever we put inside there will be done. So the first thing that we want to do is have it so that it loses a life. So to do that, we go into this section again, back into info, and scroll down a little bit, and we can choose change life by -1. If we drag that in there, we can change it so that this means that every time, in fact, let's have a play of it. Let's see what happens. So hopefully now, when I play my game, if I refresh it, each time I crash, oh no, I went straight to game over. That must be, I must have jumped through it a few times there. But each time you overlap with it, it's losing lives really quickly on mine. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put a little pause in there to make sure that it doesn't lose all my lives straight away. So let me do that. Because what's happening is, because it's hit me and then it's staying over, it's running down these really quickly. So what I can do is, if I go into my loop section, one piece of code that I use lots and lots and lots is this pause. And what this means is that it just pauses the code, so it can't just keep running that change life by -1 lots and lots and lots. So with this pause, I might increase this maybe to half a second maybe. And then I'm going to rerun my code and see if that's fixed the issue. Let's see if that's fixed it. Yeah, there we go. So now I'm only losing 1 life every time I get hit. Eventually I've died. So just to recap that, I know I did that a little bit quick. I was just checking it worked before advising you all. So what we're looking to have is this section here where it's on sprite of kind player overlaps with other sprite of kind enemy, changing life. This can be found in the information section, and the pause is actually found in the loop section. So we click into loops, pause is just here, and you can just drag that in and pop it underneath. I changed it to from 100 milliseconds to 500 milliseconds. So feel free to use that, but it might be that it could actually do it a little bit slower than that. It might be that it doesn't need that whole section. But what I also want to happen is I actually want it to destroy the bogey when that happens as well. So I want it to the bogey to explode after it's crashed into me. So if we go back into sprites, we can scroll a little bit further down, and we have destroy. So we have this one here, and what we want to do is drag this in. I'm going to pop this underneath, so I'm going to lose a life, then it's going to destroy. I'm actually going to change this to this Overspray, drag this into her. So if anyone missed that, just really quickly, what I did to get that there was I drag this Overspray section here, and you can drag it and you can just drop it into here. So we want it to destroy the other sprite, so the enemy. And what we can do as well as just destroying it, if we click on this plus button here, we have a few different effects that we can add in there when it gets destroyed. So we've got a spray, fire, rings, smiles, hearts, trail. I think, let me think what will look good on this one. Starfield could look good. Blizzard. I think I'm going to go with fire. And I'm going to change it so it's not quite as long, so it's just quite a quick effect. So now, hopefully, when I overlap, I should lose a life, but the bogey should be destroyed. Let's have a quick look. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so I've lost a life, but you see that it looks like the enemy ship kind of explodes. I'm not doing a very good job of dodging here. But that's my game, and that's my game so far now. So I've got a game, and I'm just avoiding for as long as I can until I crash, and that is game over. But as well as adding bad guys to our code, we also said that we were going to add projectiles, and this is something that's quite cool. So what a projectile does is allows us to fire back at the enemies. So as well as being not just jumping away from them, trying to avoid them, we can also try and shoot back at them and try and get rid of them. So to do that, what I'm going to do is add a new section, and let's find a bit of space for it. So I'm going to put it in about over here, and I'm going to add a controller. And on my game, I want it to be if button A is pressed that I'm able to shoot. So you could choose B if you wanted to, but I'm going to use button A. And to do that, we click on A button pressed, which is the second one down. Give it a little bit of space down here. And we're going to need to actually add in a new sprite that we've got for the projectile. So if I go to Sprites, I think it's just this one. Let me have a quick look at it. I think we might have a separate one for projectiles. Let me just scroll down a little bit. Here we are. Yeah, we have. I thought it was different. So what we're looking for is this one here. So there's actually a projectiles tab, little header that we can use. And we're looking for this second one down here. So to do that, what we can need to do is just drag this in to on button A pressed. While we've got a second, while that's going to load in, you can start designing your projectile. So what's going to shoot out your spaceship from here. I'm just going to check in, Ian, just to see, is there anyone struggling with anything that I need to re-go over there, or are we pretty much everyone seem okay for us to continue on?
I am glad you asked, John. We've got one question that's proving quite popular. We've got it coming in from Jose and Ruth on Facebook. And we've got one from Misty Knight from YouTube, and they're all asking, is there a way to make the enemy come from a different direction?
Yes. So, great question. This was something I was actually going to talk about at the end, but I'll talk about it right now. So, I have chosen for my game to be kind of like everything's coming from the right-hand side and coming down. If you wanted yours to be a little bit more like Gallagher or Space Invaders or something like that, where it's going from the top down, all we need to do is just change the X and Y of our designs, of our code. So with mine, I actually designed my spaceship to be pointing right. So you probably want yours to be pointing upwards or to the left, or whichever way you wanted it to come from. But great question. So let's jump back over to the enemies. So at the moment, I have got mine so that they are starting off screen. In fact, I'll zoom in on this bit for a second. So mine is starting off screen to the right because I've got this X as 180, and I'm choosing a random Y. So what I'd want to do is, first of all, start them at the top. So what I'd actually do is almost flip them around. So I pick a random number from the top, from 0 to 160. And then Y. could be, it's fine being, oh no, we want that to be minus something because we want it to be off the screen. So let's just call it minus 20 for now. And then what we would need to do to make them come from the top is change this number here. So at the moment we've got x the velocity of x to be minus 120, and that's what's making it go left. If I change that to 0, so that means that it doesn't go left or right, but I'm going to have to change my y for it to come down. So I'm going to increase this y to 100, let's say. But again, that's how fast you want them to come, so it doesn't actually matter. If you want them to go slower, you decrease that number. You want them to go quicker, you speed up that number. Let's try this now. I'm saying this, I could make a right fool of myself here. Let's press, make it a bit bigger. Oh no, yeah, that's worked. So they're all coming down now. So obviously, I'd want to change the design of my spaceship. It doesn't look like they're flying at me. It looks like they're just falling out the sky, and I'm the same. Tell you what, actually, though, I might recycle this. It's quite a nice paddle for this spaceship that I've designed. I was going to do a Pong-esque one. So yeah, that's how you can change it to be. And equally, you can just use the same logic again to make it come from the left-hand side. Let me just change that back so I don't forget myself later on when I go to do it. So I'm going to change this back so mine come back from the right. So throw this random back in here. 120. Great question though, everybody. And I want my x to be 160. Yeah, that's fine. 180, sorry. And I want my velocity. This needs to switch back around, so let's put this back on 100. And this to be on 0. You could have multiple bad guys coming from different locations. It might make your game really crazy hard, but you could have some that come from the top, you could have some that come from the side, you could have some that come from the bottom up or from the left-hand side. All we need to do is change these numbers around, but whichever side you want them to appear from, it is possible. You just need to figure out the X and Y coordinates for you to be able to do it. So hopefully that's answered those questions. Anything else, do you reckon I'm all right to crack on now with where we were?
Just one last one that I think's worth mentioning is can you make your character bigger? So I think once people have put different sprites in, they realise when they're interacting they need to be bigger or smaller. So is that easy to do?
Do you know what? That's a great question. There is a section here that we can look at images. I've not used it too much myself. I know that you can flip things and things like that, but I don't know if there's a quick way of doing it without having to redraw it. But if you were wanting to draw a bigger one, the thing that you'll need to remember to do is, again, when you go into the sprite section, so if I use my bogey for an example here, this is currently editing at 16-bit by 16 pixel, 16 pixel by 16 pixel. If we wanted this to be much larger, so we want it to be twice the size, make it 32 by 32. But unfortunately, it does mean you'd have to. That one's not coming. There you go. It does mean you'd have to redraw it and make it bigger. Again, because they've done it, because it's not actually kind of like a standard image that you can stretch its code. You have to redraw it. That's one of the downsides with it. You have to kind of redraw it whenever you're putting it back in or making it bigger and things like that. But again, a good question. You can just make these as big as you want to be. So I've not done a very good job. I've actually made a little bit of a mistake on mine. Let me have a look at. Let me change this back to 16 by 16. And with this one, what I would probably do is, if I was spending a lot more time on this, I would probably try and get rid of this empty space at the top and the bottom of it, so that doesn't interact with people and things as we're going near it. So you could possibly get rid of some of this. I could probably make this 40 maybe. Not 114. No, that's the wrong one. So let's go back to 16 on that one. I've just deleted my fire at the back of it. I'll do for now. But if I wanted to get rid of some of the height, I could change that to, say, 14 there. And I could move it up again and get rid of it again. And it always edits it from the top corner. So if you wanted to use the lasso here, move it up, Reduce the height again to 11. So now it's filling a lot more of that box, and it's not got as much space around the outside of it. That's quite a nice technique to use whenever you draw, and try not to have too much space around the outside of it that you don't need. You could have done. So I've actually got loads on my hero that I might sort out in a bit if we get a bit of time. Brilliant. Okay, so hopefully that's answered people's questions that we're asking them. What we're looking to do now, though, is get our projectile so that we can fire back to our bad guys. So just to recap, I'll tell you what, I'll do this again, just in case anyone had missed it. We're going to controller, and then the second option down, on button A pressed, and we're dragging this in. Then we can really simply change it from button A to button B, to the left, to the right, to the any button. We can change that as we want, but I'm going to keep mine on A pressed. What I want to do is add in a projectile. So I'm going to go to Sprites, and I'm going to go down, 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 till we get to the projectiles menu. And the second one here is set projectile to projectile from my sprite with velocity. All right, so I'm going to drag this in. And I'm actually quite all right with it just being called projectile for this one, so I'm not going to bother renaming it, because it does what it says on the tin, so it's quite easy for me to use. And just before I design what I'm going to be shooting, I need to make sure that it's coming out of the right character. So I'm going to change it from my sprite, click on that drop down, and my character was called Spaceship. So I'm going to click on Spaceship. That'll get rid of the error that's there. Make sure you put it to the one that you've called it. And again, we've got this Vx and Vy. So we're looking at the velocity of the projectile that's being shot out. And because I want mine to go right, I'm just thinking, it's my screen might be the opposite way around. So people might be thinking I'm saying right. I'm saying left when I'm saying right. I'm getting it right, honestly. But I think it might be flipped around, so I might be looking a bit silly. But so to do that, I'm going to put in a number here. So I want my X to be, let's say, 75. And my Y, I don't want my projectiles going up or down. I just want them going that way. So what I'm going to do is change this to 0. And the last thing that I need to do is draw them in. So I've got something showing something that I'm shooting. So again, what I might do actually is I might make mine a little bit thinner here, because I don't need it to be this tall. So what I might do is make mine 6. Let's try. Let's see what that looks like. So we've now got a thinner projectile. It's not as tall as it was before. I might even make it a bit thinner than that. You don't have to. You could be shooting out massive things. You could be, if you're doing an underwater one, you could be shooting out a massive air bubble, if you were like a fish or something like that, or a trident. You see them a lot in underwater films, don't you? And what am I going to get I think I might try and shoot out like a laser. Yeah, I think I might try and shoot out like a purple laser on this. So I'm going to try and draw a little bit of like a star at the end of it. And then, really annoying. I could do with one more dot, but maybe I'll just do it two rows. There we go. Yeah, this is my attempt at a laser anyway. And then I'm going to click on done. And then I'm going to have a play of the game and see again what it looks like. See if what the shooting looks like. So, shooting a bit high, a bit big then for me actually. I don't want them to be that big. Oh, where have my bad guys gone? Something must have gone wrong in my code. I've not got no bad guys, so something's definitely gone wrong in my code. Let's go back and see what I've messed up as I've gone through it. So you don't have any bad guys as well. You can blame me, because I've obviously put something wrong here back in when I've come into it. So this is okay. Yeah, this is it. Oh, this is what I've done. Rookie mistake. I've gone on set bogey velocity. VX to 100, that means they are flying right. That means they're flying away from my game. So they're all there. They're just all flying the wrong way. They're all scared of me. So I'll change that back to a minus. Let me just refresh this and just make sure that's the error. Yeah, there they all are. And I can shoot back at them. But currently, my game is a little bit rubbish because my shots back at them do absolutely nothing. They just flash through them. They go through them. They don't do anything as we're going. So what I can do is make sure that these projectiles damage or actually destroy the bad guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another overlap. So I'm going to go back to sprites. Oh, it's a bit, I'm going to zoom in a little bit because it's a bit hard to read it like that. So go back to sprites, scroll down, and I've got this overlap here, which is overlaps. And this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to drag this in, move a little, get a little bit of space for it down here. Let's have a quick look at it. There it is. And so what I need to make sure I've got here is changing this from player. This time I don't, it's not for, I'll zoom in a little bit more there, sorry, so people can see. This time I'm not too bothered about, it's nothing to do with my player. It's the projectile that I want to change. So I'm going to click on this one and have projectile. And so when my projectile overlaps with another sprite of kind, not player, of enemy, I want to do a couple of things. I think that actually I should get points of every time I kill an enemy. That's a good idea. I want to give myself some points. So I'm going to change score by 1. And I'm also going to destroy it. So I've actually done quite a nice one up here with destroy other sprites with fire. And I think I'm going to use the same thing. So I could go back into the sprites menu, find destroy, and drag this back in. And if you're working on a phone or a tablet, that's probably the best way of doing it. But if you're working on a computer, if you right click on it, we get a few options. And one of them at the very top is duplicate. And so we click on this. We can drag it in here. And it will duplicate it. And I'm going to put that pause in as well, like I did the last time as well. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to right click, I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to put that in. So that I did that quite quickly, so I'll give everyone a second just to get that up to date with that. So all you want to do, you want to duplicate something, give it a right click and click on duplicate. Something that I don't do very often, but it's sometimes good if you start working on more and more code, is to add a comment on your different parts of it so that you, when you come back to your code, you know what it did. So again, I can right click on it and I could add a comment in here and say, this destroys, destroys. I can't spell destroys. No, destroys. Gets rid of. Kills. Easier. This kills bad guy with I can't even spell bad. That's how bad it's getting with a projectile. There we go. And so sometimes this is useful to have when you come back to your code. You can click on these arrows and hide it, but anytime you see one of these little speech bubbles here, you click on it, it just tells you, you write them out, it can help you remember what they do, especially if you want to come back and restart using bits and pieces of your code with all ones. What I might do is I might change it from fire to something else, just so that we've got a difference between the different ones. All right, so maybe I might go with, ooh, Starfield. Let's try that one. All right, so let's have a quick look. Go now. Let's see if I can, how good I am, if I can dodge and if I can fly and if I can get everything going. Okay, I can see my points going up. I don't like this laser. I think if I had more time, I think I'd redesign this. Cool. I've got my game and I can fly around and shoot these guys and count up a score. If I wanted to, I could put a time limit on it so that I can only I could only have a certain amount of time before my life ran out. I could also have it so that I put a different projectile in there for B. So maybe it's like I have a laser for number 1, but I have a massive bomb or something like that for button number 2. Nikki, for yours, it could be different spells. That could be quite a nice way of doing it. And then let's have a quick, let me go back to my code. Stop that. There we go. I could have other enemies coming in from different directions. We could have loads of different things going on in there. So I'm just going to stop here, I think, in terms of showing you extra bits and bobs. I might go to Ian in a second and just see if there's any questions. But this is a good point to mention that we are going to be having another competition this week. We have got these cool things. Again, Ian, do you want to use my computer camera so we can get a nice close-up of this section? So this is from Kictronic, our good friends over at Kictronic. They've given us 5 to give away, and I've actually loaded the winning player's game onto this one from last week. So we'll be turning that on in a little bit to show who has won the first week's competition and who will be getting one of these out in the post to them. They are really cool. For this week's game, what we're going to do is ask you to submit your game, just like we did last week. I'll get that up on the website to show you. And we're going to be focusing on the design of your enemies and projectiles. That's what we're going to be judging it on this week. In the first week, we're mainly focusing on your character design and how they went. This week, a little bit different. We're going to focus on the enemies and also the projectiles, so the things you're shooting out. So I don't think I'd have a chance with my rubbish laser there that I've got going out. But I'm confident that you guys can come up with and design something a little bit cooler or a little bit better than that one. Ian, do we have any questions lined up from anybody?
I think everybody seems to be doing okay. We've had some questions where they're saying they can't shoot and the projectiles aren't killing the bad guys and stuff, but I think best answer for those people is when some people are struggling to rewind on Facebook. I think that's if you're watching it on maybe a mobile device. You can do it if you're watching it on a laptop or a PC or whatever. But when this video is finished, it'll be in our videos section and you can just watch it back and pause it. So if anybody's struggling pausing the live stream or rewinding it, at the end, you will definitely be able to do it. So you can go back and revisit those bits where Sean explained it. And also, Sean, are you going to put the finished code somewhere for people to see?
I can't hear you very well, Ian, sorry.
I'm sorry. Are you going to put the finished code somewhere for people to see?
Yes. What I will do is I will publish this now, and we'll throw the finished code. I'll put it on the screen so everyone can see it for a little bit, so you can make a note of it. But just thinking, where's the best place to put it? Do you think, Ian? We put it on our website so people can see it on there.
Yeah, for sure. So that's probably a good. Yes, for sure. That's probably a good time to show people where they would submit their games, because we can put the finished code on there as well, can't we?
Yeah, fantastic. So just to recap, if this is your first week and you have your game and you're wanting to submit it, don't really like you need to submit it now. As with last week, we give everyone till Sunday to submit your game, so you got plenty of time to make it better, carry on working on it. Don't feel like you need to do it this second. That's completely fine. But when you are ready to do it, I will just open quickly a new tab and go to our website, MakoCreate, show you how easy it is to do. This is when our website crashes, isn't it? When I'm just about to show them how easy it is to get to it. So this is our website loading up now. And we always have loads of interesting stuff on there, I'm sure, like around blog posts and stuff like that. But what we're interested in right now is this project. So we're going to go to projects across the top. And then I think it's the top left one when it loads up. We've got a computer game design 5-week project. So what we need to do is to click on that one when it arrives. There it is. I'm sure you've all seen these images all over the place in different places. So we give that a click. Feel free to check out some of our other projects that we're doing. We've got some really cool ones going on in Crewe and in Halton and in St. Helens at the moment, which are very exciting with some really nice people. A lot of them, I'm sure, have been posting out and telling people about this workshop. So thank you very much to all our people that have been helping us post this out and letting us know about it. Earlier, when I was saying you missed week 1, this is where you can actually watch week 1. So you can click on this play button here, and that would start playing week 1. But I don't think I can handle double me at the moment, so I'm going to leave that one there. And this is where we have week 2's code. So after today's session, you can actually re-watch it if you like here, but you can click on your submit here button, and you are able to open up this form, which gets a few details from you and then allows you to submit it. Something that I will say, though, is something that we didn't think about last week when we were doing it. It's fantastic that we've had players from absolutely all over the world coming in and taking part and doing it. But we do need you to be from either the UK or Northern Ireland to be able to win this, because we've got to post them out and things like that, and we don't have the budget to send it to Australia and all sorts of places like that. So UK or Northern Ireland only, unfortunately. We'd still love to see your games if you want to submit them. We love playing through them and seeing them, but unfortunately you will need to be from either the UK or Northern Ireland to be able to post one of these out to you and get it to you. But let's show you how to get that URL so that you are able to submit that to us. So to get the URL, what we need to do is to go to our game and go to this share icon here in the top left-hand corner. Once we click this, it'll ask for the name. So if we want to change the name of our game, so Space is fine for mine actually, but you might want to call yours whatever it is that you've come up with, some kind of cool, funky name for it. Remember, we can take a picture or even a video actually of our game in action. So I'm just going to take a quick picture so that people will have a bit of an idea what it looks like. And then once you're happy with your name and your picture or video, go on, actually, I'll quickly show you the video on how to do that, because we didn't do that last time. So if I refresh this and if I hit the video button, now as I'm playing the game, if I move my spaceship up and down, it's actually recording a quick video of rendering a GIF there, so that when we share it out, it actually has a little video. I've played mine terribly there, but you can see that the kind of like the little images moving there around. So instead of it just being a single image, you can actually have a little video of it being played. And then publish project. And that is it. That is it. It is there and ready to play. As I said the last time, if you have got a QR code reader on your phone, you can scan this QR code here in the bottom right, and that will load the game up on your phone, so you can use your phone as a little bit of a controller. I've been doing that quite a lot when we've got people sending them us through Twitter and things like that. I load it up on my phone. I find it a bit easier to play on the phone. But you can also copy this code and share it anywhere you like. Facebook, Messenger, YouTube, you name it. You can put that code somewhere and people will be able to play your game. What's cool, though, this is my published game. As well as being able to play the game, if I open this up in a new tab, as well as being able to play the game, it's also a fantastic way to work with other people on your game, because you can play the game, but you can also, using these buttons at the top, you can see the code that the people have used, and you can also edit the code, so you can see what the person's done, but you can also then edit your own code from it. So I'm going to post this one on our website, like Ian said. But so if you have anything wrong in your code and you're not sure how to fix it, if you go to edit code, you can see all of my code and you can copy it verbatim if you want and have it exactly the same, or you can just want to steal a little bit of it or borrow it. I'm happy for you guys to use as much of my code as possible. I love the fact that they let you do this on this software. It's brilliant. It allows you to share it nice and easily between each other and other people. Just to say, if you've not had enough, if you want more, you want to learn more, our expansion pack last week sold out. So that's what we do. We do a session on Monday morning, an hour long, got 10 o'clock on Monday mornings, and it builds on from this. So we can help finish off this game. We can add in other bad guys. We'll have other shooting things going on. We'll be making them bigger and better and adding more and more stuff to them. So if you've enjoyed this and you want to kind of do even more of it, we've got our expansion pack available at the moment, which you can find either on our Eventbrite page or if we go to our Facebook page, which is MakoCreate. Is it not MakoCreate UK, our Facebook page, Ian, just in case they're searching for it? I think it might be just in case you're searching MakoCreate and it doesn't come up. But if we go to events, you can see the expansion packs here. And these are private sessions, so there's up to 15 people in them, and all you need to do is choose the date that you want. So the one that's coming up is the 1st of June. That will be Monday, and you'll be able to purchase tickets either through Facebook, or you can go to Eventbrite and purchase tickets that way. So that's a little bit of extra. The streams on Wednesdays will always continue to be free, so don't worry about that. If you're enjoying this and you're wanting to carry on learning on Wednesdays, we are going to be doing these free, and we've got 3 more weeks of them coming through. I guess the last thing that we want to be telling people about, and the thing that I'm sure that a lot of you be excited about, is who won last week's game and who's going to be getting one of these awesome arcade machines by Kitronic going out to them in the post. So without further ado, the winner of the first week's competition was a young chap called Tig, the 13, and the game was called Collect the Cheese. It's brilliant. I've loaded it up onto this game here, so if I turn this on, we're able to see it. Can you show us my camera? Is that going to come on now? There we go. It's here. So I'm going to see if I can. I'll show it on the computer as well, but you can click the A button here, and I'll tell you what. I'll show it on the game, so it's easier for them to play. Oh, there it is. And we can move characters around with the A buttons. There we go. Oh, it's so hard playing it backwards. But I really love this. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to show you why I really loved it. So if we jump to my computer again, Ian, this is the code and this is the finished game. We'd added some things in there with music and stuff, which was nice, but that wasn't what I was focusing on. What I really liked about it was, if I click the A button, the character changes position each time. So it's kind of got a back to it and a front to it. And so as we're moving around, we can, I'm collecting the cheese. How many can I get? Well, I'll stop it now, but that's really what impressed me. The character has 4 different sides to it. So if I hit that stop button and we go back to the code, this is how that was achieved. So this is one of the nice things about clicking the edit button as well and being able to edit it. Let me zoom out a little bit so I can find the code I'm looking for. Oh, here it is. These bits of code here. So each time we press one of the buttons, so if we press the down button, we get the icon where the person is looking at us. If we press the up button, it switches to the back of the character. And right, he kind of faces right, and there must be a left somewhere else hiding around. Must be up here somewhere. There it is. There's the left one up there, yeah. So well done, Tig. That's fantastic. We'll send you an email and see if we can get an address and get this one sent out to you. Thank you for absolutely everyone that applied. Over 150 games. There was so many good ones. As I was saying before, Doctor Who ones, Unicorn ones, Harry Potter ones, loads and loads of different ones. Hey Nikki, I almost forgot. Do you want to send us your game and we'll have a go at yours? If you might have already done it, but yeah, if you send us your game, I'll via email. We'll have a quick play of that one before we get to the end as well.
I was just about to say, I think Nikki's just left, but she's just joined back in, so I'll put her in.
So, hi Nikki, you're back in. There you go.
Sorry, yeah, I got booted out, but I'm back in.
That's like no one can kick you out for long, can they, Nikki? always get back in. So yeah, Nikki, how has your game gone? Has it gone according to plan?
Yeah, not too bad, but I'm not very good at it.
You're not very good at it. Well, if you send it through to me, I'll have a quick load. I'll load it up quickly, and we'll have a quick play at it and see if we can get it going. But yeah, fantastic. So just while we're waiting to get that email through from Nikki, what I'll do is I'll just quickly show you again. Unless if you've got something there, Ian, to go through.
No, I know that few people asking when it's ended and who's won and stuff like that. So there you go. There's your answer. Just wanted to give a special mention to Tig. Sorry if we're butchering your name there, if that's not exactly how you pronounce it. But fantastic work on your game, but also fantastic work for all the help that you're offering in the chat sections as well. That is so amazing for us to see when you guys are taking what Sean's showing you, and not only are you doing it, but you're helping others who are struggling a little bit as well. So special mention to Tig for helping out with everybody else, because that's such a great thing to see. Don't worry if you didn't win. We've got another one. So try again. Send it to us.
So again, what I'm really focusing on is the design of your bad guys and the projectiles in this one. So what I'd like to see is try not to use ones that are in the pre-built gallery. I want to see your artistic flair. I want to see ones that you've designed yourself. So we had the collectibles of the cheese and the character here from Ty. So those were great. But just to reiterate, there was loads of great ones. There was one, I've not got his name up at the moment, but there was one from somebody who did a skeleton, and they'd done the code. So you had to collect 10 bones, and when you collect 10 bones, it made a full skeleton. So they'd use maths in there to kind of do it, and they'd set it in a graveyard and stuff. So really, really well done for absolutely everyone that submitted a game to us. That's fantastic. Nikki, have you managed to send your game over to us? I've not had it through.
I've emailed it through to you, yeah.
Emailed it through. Let me give it another refresh and see if it comes through in a second. So, okay, while we're doing this, while we're waiting for this email to come through, what I'm going to do is just show you really quickly how you can submit your games again. So to do that, all you need to do is jump onto our website, go to our projects page, which is you can find across the top. And inside our projects page, there is a computer game design one. If you give that a click, it's in the top left corner of that page. You come up to a page with all the details about the computer game design, and you can catch up on the first week's episode. You can rewatch this episode if you want to as well. You can catch up on the first one. You can catch up on the second one. This is where we'll put my stream code as well, so that you can have a look at my code and capture it from here. And you can also submit your own game. And all you need to do is click that button there, which will open up this menu. And we try and keep it as easy as possible. So just name, email address. Just to reiterate on this one, if it is a young person that's submitting the game, we need an adult's email address for us to be able to contact them. So if you're under 18, please get a parent or guardian or someone that looks after you, and get their email address in there. And then last but not least, not forgetting your URL, so we can give your game a play and see how we all get on with it. Okay, let's see if that email's come through. Oh, I've still not had it. Nikki, I think we're going to have to leave it, unfortunately. I've still not had it. I trust you that it was an amazing game, though, and that it
was truly awesome.
that it was. I'll tell you what we'll do, Nikki. We'll get your code and we'll put your code on there as well, so that people can play yours as well as my one.
Right, okay.
Once we get it on there. But absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, just to reiterate, thank you very much, everyone, for taking part today. I hope you all had an awesome time. I'm sure we might see a few of you at the expansion pack, and I look forward to playing some of your games. And finally, just welcome to Ty. Yeah, fantastic. All right, so from myself, from Nikki, and from Ian, thank you very much for tuning in and taking part. And we will all see you virtually next Wednesday when we come back to our next one. level design next week. Looking forward to that one. So a little bit different from this one. We're going to be looking at expanding, moving from just the 160 to 120 that we've been doing. We're going to be going a little bit bigger and making our levels interactive. So look forward to seeing what everyone comes up with for that one next week. I've been Sean. You've been awesome. See you later. Take care.